Parish. We realize, Father God, before us today we have a great task to perform. We pray for your divine guidance, Father God, so we'll be able to do it with civility in mind, keeping in fact to the forefront of what we do with the people's interests. Father God, help us to make the right decisions today. Help us to have a calm and collective mindset today. We pray for Commissioner Pearson, Father God, who is ill, and we pray for speedy recovery. And we pray for the condolence of Commissioner Jenkins' family as they celebrate the homegoing of their loved one. We pray that you be with these families, Father God, with all the families of our parish. We pray for our military members serving overseas and their families back here at home. Thank you, Father God, for allowing us to serve the people that in our community. Help us to be good servants. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Going in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a lot of people here today, and I just want to ask if you have your cell phone, if you could kindly put it on silent or vibrate. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. Are there any agenda additions? None. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Special resolutions, Mr. Spears?
I believe Commissioner McCulloch has a presentation.
Yes, at this time I'm going to ask Mr. Ed Myers and the president of the Pine Hill Waterworks Board and his board members to come forth. As most of you know, there has been quite a bit going on with Pine Hill Waterworks, and a lot of you have been inquiring with me as to what's about the business of the Pine Hill Waterworks. So I've asked Mr. Ed Myers to come today and present the board members and just give you a brief update on the business within the Pine Hill Waterworks. Mr. Myers, would you please come forth with the board members, please?
I'd like to thank the Cattle Commission for allowing us to come down and talk to you. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. Just prior to me becoming a member of the Pine Hill Waterworks, we had a series of fires out where I live. And after the fires, we had a lot of discussion over who was at fault. After a long time, a long period, and a lot of help from Ed McCullough, we got grant, $526,000. We now have 6-inch lines throughout our district. We have fire hydrants every 600 feet in our district. We have nothing lower than a 6-inch line in our district. We have came a long way. We've got a long way to go. We had an incident last year, but we've overcome it. At the time right now, Pine Hill Waterworks is second to none in the distribution of water. Our books are open to anybody to see. Our office is open. We're in the red all the way. We do not owe anybody anything except the bond issue that we got. This is the staff that we're going through with. This is the treasury, Mr. Edwin Thomas, Mr. Samuel. This gentleman will have to pronounce his last name because I can't. Owaju. He's one of the board members. The vice president is not here. This is our staff back here. Stand up.
Stand up, Mr. Durham. Yeah.
These two ladies work in our office. This gentleman here is our maintenance assistant supervisor. Right now we've got 1,900 customers that we serve. I hope that in the year of 2010 that we'll have 3,000 customers. We have just passed a commercial rate. In December, we sent flyers out to all of the commercial people in our district. We had 2 board meetings, and it was passed. We have commercial rates right now, comparison with the others. Greenwood, their commercial rates is $125 flat rate. Ours is $45. We have gained lots of customers. Down on Albany Road, we gained 16 customers. Davidson Lane, we gained 10 customers. It was on a well, getting water for 10 people, and they came to the water board and applied to us, and we built a line 1,400 feet long so that people could have purified water. We get our water from the city of Shreveport. We got 4 wells that we get from Croson Farm. Mr. and Miss Croson, or Miss Croson and her grandson, were getting water, but it was not purified. The health department, Mr. Clay Byers, said you have to have it purified. We have just built 2 purification stations to purify their water. Ms. Rose McCullough has helped us in a long ways to come as far as we can. We've got a long way to go. We had an incident where a couple of employees was involved in something that was not our doing. We took a hard spill. I called Ms. McCullough in regards to it. We got up, dusted the seat of our britches off, and we're ahead now. I thank y'all for listening to us. Ms. McCullough?
Wait just a minute.
Our books are open. If y'all would like to see them, you'd like to come out to our office and visit us, drink coffee with us. If you'd like to go a ride through our system, Lonnie Parker, who is not here, our maintenance supervisor, he will carry you throughout the system. You can come and go through our books and see our everyday operation. We've got nothing to hide from the people. We're in the red. A lot of people can't say that. Black. Black. Well, we got plenty of money.
Opportunity to thank all of the board members, office workers, and especially Mr. Ed Myers. Actually, this was a setup for you.
I figured that.
So, Mr. Myers has been serving as president for almost 10 years now. And most of you all know that prior to me serving, my daddy served, and Mr. Myers just actually put his arms around me. And he's been with me, and we have been working together. I wanted to present you this plaque today, Mr. Myers. It reads, presented to Edwin E. Myers for loyal and dedicated leadership to the Pine Hill Waterworks Board, Commissioner Rose Wilson McCullough, District 2, April 9, 2009. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me say this in closing. My term will be up May of 2010. I'm not sure that I will seek another term. I'm 74 years old. If I seek another term, I'll be 75 at the end of it. So I'm not sure. I'll leave that to the discretion of the commission. If you want me, I'll stay.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. McCullough.
All right, thank you. Next item, Mrs. Spears.
Yes, ma'am, that would be communication reports, administration responses.
Madam President, there's no appropriation admin.
Gosh, this is really getting shorter and shorter. Any commissioners, Commissioner Cox?
At the request of Monday's meeting, I made a trip down to Baton Rouge for the Homeland Security meeting on the upcoming hurricane season. And as I went in, I had an open mind and was just going to basically see what they had to say. We are already, in my opinion, still behind the 8 ball. They are planning to go from a plan that Florida put in. It's a 10-year plan where now Florida has over 1 million square foot of shelter space, and that is all within the state. The state of Louisiana still has partnerships with Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Alabama, but I believe Georgia has backed out of the partnership with us, and they are negotiating that right now. As far as the building in Mr. Epperson's district, they are looking at changing the sports mall to a headquarters for the Red Cross, the National Guard, storage facilities for materials, supplies, and very rarely will anybody be there for shelter. under the extreme emergencies would they place people there. Sam's Building will still be a shelter as of right now. They are not looking at doing any more improvements. They said that the last time they were there, they pretty well got everything done. They will have a worst-case scenario for the Hearst Coliseum. They're looking at it, but from what I understand, it may even be rented out, or the condition of the Hearst may not be very susceptible to tenants. So we're behind the eight ball as far as, in my opinion, North Louisiana having facilities to house people that may be displaced in this year's hurricane season. We can all pray and hope that we don't get affected this year like in years past. So I will be going down to the next meeting. I brought some literature back. I'll pass out or have mail to you, and I'll let y'all look at it. But overall, in my opinion, we're still behind. We're even further behind now with some of the facilities that are not going to be able to be used this year. So we are just going to wait for Secretary, I believe her name, Secretary Nelson, I believe her name, Nichols, Secretary Nichols. She has a plan coming together. They will be up here shortly to address us and keep us abreast of what their decisions or what their goals are. So, and I basically told them all that, you know, hurricane season starts pretty soon, so they better hurry up. So, and that's my report from Baton Rouge.
Let me ask you, Commissioner Cox, they were talking about constructing a facility at one time in different parts. Whatever happened?
That is still on the long-term board of the 10-year plan. They were talking about 3 facilities in North Louisiana. My idea back when I wrote the governor that one letter was that each parish in North Louisiana could probably house one of these facilities. They did talk about the multi-use facilities that, if not during hurricane season, they would either at the parish itself use those facilities or private groups. But my way of thinking is if you put one in each northern parish and they can house up to 8,000 people, that would be better on everybody as far as Louisiana. They want to try to control people within the state, and that's what Florida has done. Florida has built facilities that, whether that's a Category 3 or higher, they have facilities now that can house people so they don't have to be taken out of state. They don't have to be taken away from their homes for a long period of time. And I think that's what they're going for. When the report is written, they will let us in on their ideas. I talked to Sandy Davis, and he too is going to come by. I was going to make a motion at our next meeting to allow him to come by and give us his update as far as his part. And he, along with us, I guess, were not notified of that meeting until Monday. So he was kind of caught off guard as well. So we are going to make sure that from now on we are notified in advance of those meetings, and we will take heed and do our part. Oh yeah, and our representative Jim Morris is on that committee, and I didn't know it till he came walking in. So I had to talk with him too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Epperson?
That was my question, was any of our Northwest Louisiana state legislative delegates there?
Yes, sir. Mr.
Morris was the only one that was present?
Mr. Morris was there, and Mr. Shaw was there.
Any other requested administration and commissioners? Next item, Mrs. Spears.
Rules to allow visitors to
I
address
move we
the
suspend the
commission.
rules to allow
Second.
visitors.
Without exception, I have one card from Mr. Wayne Woodson. Mr. Woodson, if you would come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Wayne Woodson. I live at 4841 North Market, Shreveport, Louisiana 71107. I'm doing a follow-up on my presentation to you last month on the increase of our water bill at 4859 North Market, where we have 5 units and 1 water meter. I'm in the red, so we don't have any money. So we're down here trying to seek some help. I gave you all a package, and it's just about detail of everything, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get lost in the shuffle when I saw that the Pine Hill Waterworks was on your agenda today. Very quickly, I would like to say that our water bill, since 35 years ago, has never been over $600 a month. A year. And the increase the Pine Hill Waterworks is giving us is going to be $2,700. Well, it's going to be $225 a month, $2,700 a year, from $600 a year to $2,700 a year. And I looked at it long range over 5 years to be $13,500, 10 years to be $27,000. There was no provisions in there to know how to charge people. In one unit we have a tanning salon, and this lady shut down probably about 5 months. There's no consideration for that, and it has no consideration if you have a vacancy, what to do. So I agreed, going to a couple of meetings, that the $45, I would agree on that, and all over per gallon she would pay that, but to pay $45 for all 5 units each was too much of an increase. I was told that the Louisiana Board of Ethics required this, and I was asked to consider writing a letter to the Louisiana Board of Ethics. I did that, and I got a letter back from Miss Greer, who is the board secretary, executive secretary, and Mr. Dupree also sent me a letter saying they have nothing to do with the Pine Hill Waterworks and its policies. So today, I want to keep it on your mind, if I can. I'm in the red and I need some help from you. And it's just, I think it's wrong to blindside these people with $45. That's just like about 300 miles from Somalia being hijacked for $45 a month. Out of the blue season, we have a 35-year-old building, should be grandfathered in there. Nothing should really change if you're going to be fair, and if you have plenty of money, why is he going to come in and hit these people during a hard time? So I appreciate you listening to me, and I asked for a response from you. And so Brother Pearson, he's ill, and so I was going to contact him, so I just came out here today to talk to you all. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you consider it, and we would like to be grandfathered. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. I have no other cards. Need a motion to go back in the regular session. Without exception.
You have other items on your agenda, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I figured they were, okay. Dr. Todd Toma. Are you in the red or the black?
Good afternoon. First, I want to say thank you very much for inviting me to appear to address and give a status of the coroner's office, which I was asked to do. March 24th was my first year in office, so I've been there just a little over a year now. Since I took control of the coroner's office, a lot of things have happened. We moved into a new building, not the one that was recently in the news, but one that the commission gave me on Cresswell, which was quite larger than the older building that we had. And needless to say, there was some unexpected cost when we did that. We had to buy some furniture and some upgrades. When I came into the coroner's office, we were using archaic records. Everything was done on paper. We had 75 file cabinets full of records in the coroner's office, which are now archived at LSU. And we bought a computer server and software for electronic records, and we do our death investigations electronically now, and all of that paper trail is pretty much gone, so we had to upgrade some services there. I kept the staff that I had before, very good staff. While I've had that staff, we wrote job descriptions, employee handbooks. My death investigators are now certified by the Police Officer Standard and Training for Firearms, so that we can be in compliance. All 6 of my death investigators are about to be certified by the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators. I have 2 currently certified. The other 4 will be sitting in the next 60 days, including myself. I'm sitting for certification with myself. And if this all happens the way that we expect it to, then I think we're going to be the only coroner's office in the state that has all certified death investigators by the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigation. We have, because of attrition and cost and repair costs, we ended up replacing 3 vehicles that were not budgeted last year. And even though we moved into the bigger vehicle, in the bigger office, and bought the 3 new vehicles that weren't budgeted because of streamlining in the coroner's office, we still came in a little over $42,000 under budget last year. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that even to a greater degree this year without any unexpected costs. So everything as far as that works really well. I passed out a piece of paper. Ms. Wilson, did that get around to them? Thank you. To basically give you an idea of what happened and to highlight one of the things that I promised you when I was running. If you look at the investigations from year 2002 up to the year 2008, the deaths have increased a little bit, by about 600. Autopsies stayed about the same, a little over 300 until this year, and the autopsy rate went down to 252. And after I finish giving this discussion, I'll explain to you why the autopsy rate went down. The sanity investigation is kind of important. One of the things that we run on, and that's a cost that's passed on to the citizens of Caddo Parish, that comes out of my budget. The sanity investigations were a little over 3,100 back in 2002 and well over 4,000 this year. The problem we have with that is recidivism rates. There's not good care, outpatient care for mental health at this point in time. We're seeing the same people admitted into the hospital, stabilized on medications, released without good follow-up. They stop taking their medications, they come back in, we do more sanity investigations. It's almost a revolving door. So a lot of these, even though the numbers are up, a lot of times it's just repeat offenders coming back for another visit. So until we do something on a statewide level to get out good outpatient care for these people, I expect to see our sanity investigations still be high. The sanity investigations, for your benefit, comes directly out of my budget. So that's absorbed in my budget. Even though we've had an increase, we were still able to absorb that. Sexual assault costs have been about the same. The total investigations in the year 2002, 5,486. The investigations this year were 7,200. So the total investigations have gone steadily up in my office. And that's done really well. The bottom part is what should make you happy. One of the things that I ran on when I told you that I wanted this job was the fact that I wanted to use local resources and stop sending autopsies to Little Rock, Arkansas, and start using LSU Medical Center, which at the time was doing 8 parishes there at the medical center, but just not doing Caddo parishes. We were still sending bodies to Little Rock. I didn't think that was an appropriate thing to do. And if you look at year 2006, it shows you how much the parish was spending and how much the city was spending for autopsies and transport. This part does not come out of my budget. The coroner gets that bill, deems it as reasonable and unavoidable, and sends it on to the city and parish, and you pay your part of it. So that does not come out of my budget. So there really wasn't a good reason to be as fiscally responsible. But I came in, we moved it, we were spending $36,646 per month in 2006. 2007, that number went over to over $49,000. In 2008, the first 3 months of 2008, which were the last 3 months of my predecessor while we were still going to Little Rock, we were billing $50,000 a month. In the last 9 months of 2008, during my term, that number went down to $18,000 a month. And the reason for that, if you break those numbers down, the reason is not so much a huge savings in autopsies per se, but it was a huge savings in transportation. Picking up a body in Caddo Parish and taking it to LSU Medical Center is a lot different than picking up a body and taking it to Little Rock. So we saved a huge amount of money in transportation costs. Once again, you never know what's going to happen in the future, but if those numbers are applied to a full year, it's a little over $250,000 a year in savings to the citizens of Caddo Parish, and I hope we can continue to do that. In the news, as you guys are aware of, the building on Hearn Avenue was donated to Caddo Parish and earmarked for the coroner's office for the back half of that building. When we first met with them, I met with the architects because some reconstruction and remodeling needed to be done on the first floor. I earmarked about $150,000 for renovation of that building. The architects came to me with what they told me was a $150,000 plan, and by the time they drew it up, it was a $300,000 plan. So I just told them to take it back with them, and we'll look at doing something in the future. So as it stands right now, we've not identified the money for that. But hopefully, I can continue these numbers to save you, the parish, the citizens of Caddo Parish some money, and try to stay under budget for you next year, too. So I'll open it up to any questions for any of the commissioners.
Commissioner Epperson?
Dr. Tom, I'd like to thank you for coming down.
Thank you, Mr. Epperson.
Realizing when I was running for this position, there was so much conversation relative to things in the coroner's office. I know my knowledge, basically, of what I had heard about what the coroner does was that they can have people, I guess, committed, and then I think I heard someone say that the coroner is the only one that can arrest the sheriff.
He's not afraid. He's not afraid.
But that's the one of the things as I went around, you and I met in Greenwood.
Yes, it's
campaigning that, people really want to know.
The coroner's office is really responsible only to the statutes of Louisiana. It's not an oversight. It's a state position assigned to the parish. And what we are designed to be is we work with law enforcement. We're designed to be the most medically knowledgeable person on the scene. In a death investigation, we're the ones that look at the body and determine cause, manner, and time of death. In a sexual assault, rape, or child molestation, we're the ones that are supposed to be medically knowledgeable that goes into that investigation and works with law enforcement to collect forensic evidence to make sure that that perpetrators are taken off the street, or if the evidence proves somebody innocent, we want the innocent to be free and we want the guilty to go to jail. So we're the most medically knowledgeable. And Louisiana is kind of unique in that we do the sanity investigations in Louisiana. A lot of places don't do that, and that's a coroner's emergency certificate. And what happens is we do the investigation, and if somebody's found to be suicidal, homicidal, or gravely disabled, we can fill out a coroner's emergency certificate, which allows the police to pick up somebody against their will and take them for psychiatric evaluation. And that's where these sanity investigations come through. As far as arresting the sheriff goes, I don't think I have to worry about that, but I have heard he's the only one that can arrest me, too, and I am afraid.
Well, thank you for coming down and continue to, educate the community and be visible within
Well, thank you, Mr. Epperson. Another big concern that was happening before was the death certificates, and death certificates are not a problem. We have no backlog whatsoever, and they're done on a daily basis, and hopefully you will not be bothered with phone calls. I don't think you have in the last year. I hope it's not going to happen. But thank you very much for letting me address the...
There are other commissioners. I just wanted to make sure he was finished.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Escaday.
I have one question. I was looking at this kind of fact sheet you put out.
Yes,
Under the first line, deaths. Is that the total number of deaths in the parish, or just deaths?
No, that's the death investigations. In order to be a coroner's case, they have to meet certain criteria. People that die not in the presence of a doctor, those that die at home, those that die within 24 hours of admission to the hospital, people that die violently. Once again, in a death investigation for the coroner's job when he investigates that is to make sure that no crime has been committed and there's no public health risk. So the statute lays out exactly what's a coroner's case.
So trending upwards, so I'm wondering, is that because we're older in this area and more of us are dying at home with nobody around, or what do you attribute that to? Because since 2002, there's a steady increase.
Well, I wasn't present prior to the 2007 number, but there's a couple of things that I think are a reason for that. One of them is an aging population. Okay, we do that. The other thing is, in Louisiana, the statutes say that the jurisdiction goes back to the parish that it occurred in. So at LSU Medical Center, being a trauma center, we get a lot of helicopter patients in from other parishes. And if they're in a car wreck in Red River Parish and they come to LSU Medical Center and they die at LSU Medical Center, technically it goes back to Red River Parish. But the problem is, I don't allow my death investigators to do that. If they die in this parish, we go up, do the initial investigation, and we call Red River Parish and give them all the details details and give the jurisdiction back to Red River Parish. I just think that's the proper way to do things, and that's what I want to happen to me if one of my Caddo Parish residents dies in a different parish. I want them to do the initial investigation and then call back to me. So that may be part of the reason that the number's gone up, and the aging population.
Well, Lance, I'd just like to tell you, obviously, my personal opinion is you're doing a very good job, and I appreciate it, but it's probably truer than we would suspect since you don't seem to make the news or bad headlines. No news is good news, so you must be doing a good job. So.
Yeah, I hope I stay the stealth coroner.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. How you doing, Dr.
I'm doing good. Good to see you.
All right. You made reference to the new building there on Hearn Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I had the privilege of coming by when you had the press conference. I didn't get a chance to talk much there, but I do want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the neighborhood. That's in District 5. That's the district that I represent. If you need help with anything, be sure to dial my number. If you need $300,000 for that building, be sure to dial Miss Lynch now.
I do that.
You'll get it too.
Glad to be in your neighborhood. That's a wonderful location. I look forward to that. If we ever get a chance to get in there and get remodeled and moved into that, that's going to be the coroner's office long after I'm gone. Long after I'm gone.
We're going to make it happen.
No other commissioners, so thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next, we have Ms. Mary Ann Tice. State your name and address for the record.
Mary Ann Tice, 839 Kings Highway, Shreveport, 71104. It is my pleasure to say thank you, commissioners, for your support of the Bassmaster Classic. On behalf of the Sports Authority and the local organizing committee, we are pleased to tell you that our goals and objectives were vastly exceeded. We have a little snippet, if the guys can cue up the video now. Just bear with us, I think you'll enjoy seeing this.
Oh, man! Woo!
Striving for a season.
I got sugar!
Striving for a lifetime.
Ooh, yeah!
Only 51 have qualified for this year's Bassmaster Classic.
With this group of fishermen, you can't stumble and have success.
30 have won the title in its 39 years.
There's not that many people alive walking the earth that have won that award.
For the first time ever, there is one woman among the 51.
This is unbelievable, and I'm here.
This year's contenders will have 3 days to make their play on a long and challenging playing field.
There's 75 miles of river, all of it with a lot of backwater, all of it with stump fields. It's very confusing. Yeah, there's going to be some broken boats. This is not the place that you can put your boat in as an occasional fisherman third week of February and feel like you're going to go, catch a lot of bass, because you're probably not. Yeah, got it. Yeah, Lord.
And at the end, there will be one angler left who can say, I am the world champion. Let's get it started. Let's start the most important event in the sport of bass fishing. That was the scene Friday morning, the first day of 3 days fishing at the Bassmaster Classic 2009. This is the World Championship of Bass Fishing. No other event even comes close. 51 anglers ready to go, all full of hope, all full of expectations, hoping to win this one, this career maker, win the $500,000 first prize, and much, much more. There's a guy that started it all with the ceremonial first bass. That's Ray Scott, the founder of the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, getting things going, and just moments after that, all those boats will crank up, idle out of the Red River Marina here, and get things started on this first day of the Bassmaster Classic. We'll be covering it. Can't can't wait to get things going, to get out to the fishing. Tommy Sanders here with Mark Zona and Z. We've been to all kinds of classics. Love the classics, man. Two kinds of classics. Either fish are few and far between, a battle to survive, or plenty of fish, good fish. You just have to beat the best in the world. Which one is this one?
Well, I heard what Boyd Duckett said, off the top of the show, that your average fisherman might go out here and struggle a little bit. Well, this river over my shoulder right here, in a nutshell, has got them, and these guys are catching them big time. But the one thing...
Commissioners, in case you missed it, that was the beginning of the Day 1 coverage on ESPN2. That was the beginning of more than 11 hours of live coverage, and will eventually be more than 50 hours of rebroadcast. Again, historic and record-breaking. In excess of 37,000 people attended the combined event of our Classic. I have provided some information to you, which is a recap and a top-line report that was issued by ESPN. So I will not go into all those numbers today, but I did want you to have that for the record. I have some mementos for you, and I will, with your permission, present them to Woody and let him be the keeper of those. But first I'll start with some publications that I know you will want to see. This is the Pro Guide for 2009 and Navigating the Bassmaster Classic on the Red River. I've marked a few pages. I know you don't have time to look at these today, but I know you'll want to. And I know you will be very pleased to see the souvenir edition of Bass Times magazine. That's our mighty Red River. This was sent to in excess of 500,000 BASS members. This was our commemorative edition. Now I have two of these, so you
President gets one.
each other every
Don't fish. I like fishermen, though.
I missed that. What did I miss, President Lynch?
Don't get it.
Don't go there? Okay.
Just keep on going.
Stay in the black.
Okay. And last but not least, I have a commemorative poster signed by all 51 anglers. So, with your permission, I'll present this to Woody.
Fishing.
Again, thank you so very much for your support. As I mentioned, the historic aspect, remember this was the first truly joint project entered into by the two cities and the two parish governing bodies. I think it's remarkable and amazing when it all works the way it should, so thank you for your support. And Commissioner Lynch, thank you for joining us at Century Tail Center. We were delighted to have you there and be able to introduce you. Thank you so much.
Well, let me tell you, we kind of set you up today, too, as well, Mary Ann. And if you all would stand, please. Spears?
We have a resolution of recognition and appreciation to Mary Ann Tice. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission is pleased to acknowledge and recognize the extraordinary accomplishments of citizens of this parish, and particularly when those achievements accrue to the benefit of the entire citizenry. And whereas Mary Ann Tice, Executive Director and CAO of Shreveport Regional Sports Authority, has seen her long-held vision and her work come to fruition during the past several months, resulting in a series of major victories for the Caddo-Bossier area. The first of those triumphs occurred when a bi-parish effort she headed up was successful in luring the Bassmaster Classic, the Super Bowl of professional fishing tournaments, to stage its annual competition in the Red River with Bossier City and Shreveport as the host cities, in doing so beating out numerous other locales that were vigorously competing for the event. And whereas she then got busy developing local interest and support and riding herd on the 1,000,001 details necessary to make an event of that magnitude happen as planned, the degree to which she succeeded in that goal was demonstrated on February 20 through 22nd when the Bassmaster Classic was held. Where the local planners had expected a crowd of about 70,000 participants and spectators, actual attendance was some 137,000 people, nearly doubling the previous attendance record for the tournament since it began in 1971. Its economic impact on the area has not yet been calculated, but it was estimated even before the event to be about $24 million. The Saturday weigh-in finale at Century Tel Center drew 60,000 people, obliterating the previous one-day record of 19,000, plus the many millions more who were watching live coverage on the ESPN Sports Network. And whereas Mary Ann Tice has already made another major catch, the 2009 Bassmaster Women's Tour will also be coming to Northwest Louisiana this fall to follow up on the staggering success of the Bassmaster Classic, and it's almost inevitable that the Classic itself will be returning here in the near future. Ms. Tice, typically discounting her role in all these achievements, attributes them instead to the many Caddo and Bossier organizers and volunteers, the public bodies, the businesses and individuals who gave their time, money, and work to maximize the event's benefit to the community. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission, legal and regular session this 9th day of April, that does hereby extend its heartiest expressions of appreciation and congratulation to Mary Ann Tice for making the Bassmaster Classic both a reality and a glittering success, thereby bringing here a wholesome activity that entertained, elevated, and enriched the community, while at the same time presenting it in a favorable light to a worldwide audience.
So moved. Second.
This would be from Commissioner Pearson, who so wanted to be here today to see you get this recognition. I saw Commissioner Cox's name before I came down.
I wanted to say something.
Okay.
Bunch of buttons.
Work it around. Okay, yeah, I talked to Commissioner Pearson, and he wanted me to tell you that he was very happy working with you over the years. You were the right person for this job. What you accomplished was amazing. I was on the at the University Club first day of the exhibit show at the Civic Center, or at the Expo, and we were just looking down and saw thousands and thousands of people walking down the road to go to the convention center. And I looked to a buddy of mine, Chuck, was with me, and I said, "You're not going to believe this. Look outside the window." And he said, "What?" I said, "Just look outside the window." And we could not believe what we saw. And then we went to the Century Tel to see that over there. What you did, not only put Caddo and Bossier on the map, you actually probably got them to come back in 4 years, I believe, hopefully. Everyone I talked to, whether it be an angler or somebody from ESPN when I was out there, they said the hospitality was great. The crowds were great. They couldn't believe people would get up that early in the morning for a boat launch. And they were just amazing. Now you've brought the Women's Classic to us. And I mean, on behalf of myself, anything we can do, let us know. You've proven you know what you're doing. You brought money into the parish, and you did a very fine job. And I take my hat off to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox.
Commissioner Dominique?
I think David pretty much said it all. Mary Ann, when you first came here and got to kind of know you a little bit better, started emailing you, and it just, I woke up and said, this is really, really a big thing. And you told us, you really meant it. And I would just say you did a wonderful, wonderful job, and I'm so proud of you. And again, if anything I can do, please let me know.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Thibodeau, McCullough.
To me, it's pure and simple. There would have been no Bassmasters Classic without Mary Ann Tice, and from now on, I will address you as Bulldog Tice. Because there were a lot of people involved in this, but, I mean, you were there popping the whip, and it just wouldn't have happened without you. It really wouldn't. And but because there were just a lot of people who didn't believe it was going to happen, because it is a tremendous catch, to use a catchphrase there, to get something like that in Little Shreveport Bossier. But they're going to be back now, and we appreciate it.
Bulldog's one of the nicer names, so I'll take it.
Yes, actually, I didn't get a chance to participate or visit the Centratel, but initially when you made the presentation, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I would support you. I don't know if you recall when you were teaching at Judson, you taught David McCulloch, whom I would consider you being a fisherman of men. David is now a railroad conductor with North Fork Railroad, and so he knows what you're up to, and I'm very proud of you, and I had confidence that this would work out because it was you that actually gave David confidence to be in school. I mean, he was a little shy, and he had a few problems, but until Miss Tice got him, and when I brought the issues to you, you remember, you said David was fine. So I want you to know David is fine. He's a railroad conductor. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and he is a wonderful, wonderful young man, always has been.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn?
Mary Ann, I feel blessed to be able to call you my friend, and really enjoyed sitting in on a couple of the meetings that we attended with you at your office, and it's amazing to watch somebody of your caliber juggle all of the tasks at hand all at one time, and you make it seem effortless, and that's the sign of a true professional. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Escaday?
I want to tell you how pleased I am that you came to us and you painted a scenario, and I don't think it was extra rosy, but anyway, you delivered on what you said, and it's very rare, that somebody tees up the ball and actually hits it where they want to. And you did better than you told us you were going to do. And I was a skeptic at first. I couldn't imagine many people cared about bass fishing. I mean, I like to fish, but I mean, I'm a believer now, but anyway. Apology as anyone's ever going to get. But job well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
May I say that I accept this on behalf of the local organizing committee. Together, I had a tremendous group across the community, and you're all a part of that as well. And I believe I saw some of my colleagues come in. I thought I saw Stacy Brown from the Convention and Church Bureau and Kelly Wells. They were instrumental in our putting together our partnership. So again, on behalf of the committee, thank you very much.
Well, let me tell you that picture signed by the anglers is going to hang prominently in the commission's office.
Thank you. All 51, remember 51, that female angler made us historic here.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, take a motion.
I move that we go back to the regular session.
Second.
And without exception. Next item, Mr. Spears.
Yes, public hearing on zoning cases. We have zoning case P2, ordinance 4866. Monica Joy Severs is the applicant, requesting rezone property from I2 to R1D urban for one family residence.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next item.
Yes, we move to public hearing on regular ordinances. First one is ordinance 4867. Authorize the administrator to grant on behalf of the parish a permanent right-of-way and servitude on parish property in section 4.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Next item.
Ordinance 4868 declares certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the administrator to sell the parish's tax interest.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next item.
Ordinance 4869 grants an encroachment on North Point Circle, public residential street, for construction of an access gate.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Thank you. Next item.
Ordinance 4870 authorizes the administrator to execute a surface and subsurface agreement with the Chesapeake Operating pertaining to the use of the surface and subsurface of a portion of Eddie D. Jones Park.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak?
Hold it, you have some...
Oh, let me put my glasses on, I'm sorry. To speak in favor of the ordinance, would you please come forward and state your full name, address for the record, please?
This is ordinance number 4870, correct?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My name is Deborah Connell. I live at 6135 Victoria Lane in Keithville, in Spring Ridge Estate Subdivision. I'm speaking in regards to ordinance number 4870 of 2009. It is a sad commentary, I think, on Chesapeake's behalf that they could not find an alternative.
Ma'am.
Yes,
Right now, we listen to people that are in favor of this ordinance?
yes, I'm in favor of the ordinance.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
But they couldn't find an alternative route to their well sites other than to go through a subdivision or a public park. But you are about to decide the lesser of those two evils. I purchased a home 4.5 years ago in Spring Ridge Estate Subdivision because of the peace and quiet, the friendly neighbors, and the absence of traffic. I wanted a place for my children to play and run in the yard safely and enjoy all the benefits that country living provides. Well, through the years, Spring Ridge Estates has been that place. My children have had the joy of living in the country, and I have enjoyed the security of close neighbors with the serenity of peaceful and quiet neighborhood. Of course, you know that the access road is through Spring Ridge Estate Subdivision currently to the well sites. Mr. Grubbs has told us that should this ordinance pass, the access road would be closed. The ordinance agreement that I was given differs from what the ordinance is today, but Mr. Smith told us that, yes, it would be in the ordinance that the access road would be closed. I noticed, though, that it is at the discretion, of course, of the parish attorney. For over 4 months, we have endured diesel traffic, pickups parked in front of my home, heavy equipment coming and going at all hours. My children have been awakened almost every night to the noise of 18-wheelers and diesel pickups coming in and out of the road in spite of Chesapeake putting up a privacy fence. I've even purchased room darkening curtains and small fans to drown out the noise, but to no avail. And for a while, we felt like prisoners in our own home. I had men out front of my house, all up and down the road. I still feel like that. I have someone parked across from my house all hours, apparently to watch the traffic going in and out of the access road. I'm no longer a resident of a peaceful, quiet subdivision. We've been bombarded by severely damaged roads, oil and gas spills on our streets, constant noise, speeding vehicles, litter, damage to our yards, and the inability to walk the streets safely. I've spent countless nights sharing my room with my children because the noise wakes them up at night. This is not something that should be happening in a subdivision, in any subdivision in Caddo Parish. Also, keep in mind, I did not sign a lease, but I know that many of my neighbors did sign leases, like the rest of Caddo Parish residents. But we did not invite Chesapeake into the neighborhood to destroy our way of life. Minor inconveniences are expected with the Haynesville Shell. We're aware of that, but destructions of neighborhoods are not. I've also been informed that should the access road in our subdivision be allowed to remain, Chesapeake can and will access other sections from which we will not receive royalties or any compensation. And Chesapeake will continue to use this access road for years to come. This is not something that's going away. As Mr. McCotter told us at our Spring Ridge Estates meeting, he said that the access road in our subdivision is for long-term cost effectiveness on the side of Chesapeake. So today you've been given the opportunity to decide on the ordinance allowing Chesapeake to access the rigs through Eddie Jones Nature Park and thereby denying them access through Spring Ridge Estate subdivision. And I encourage you to support this ordinance. I do understand that it will have an impact on the Veterans Cemetery and on the park, but they have operating hours. We do not. We come to our homes and our subdivisions at all hours. We live there. So today I ask that you protect the residents of Spring Ridge Estates, and also I ask that you set a precedent, showing that although the Commission welcomes the oil and gas industry, it will not sacrifice the quality of life for the residents and homeowners of Caddo Parish. Thank you, Commissioner.
Are there any other persons to speak in favor of this ordinance? Come forward, sir. afternoon. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Wilfred Smith. I live at 6081 Victoria Lane in the Spring Ridge Estates subdivision. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you today about this. As I sat in the back prior to the meeting actually starting, I realized I had a lot in common with a lot of the people here. Probably especially the fellow that was in the red. But the waterworks people, in my past life, before I retired, I can appreciate the importance of a good water supply. I am a resident of the neighborhood who is affected by this drilling and heavy equipment. I am an avid wildlife and bird photographer. I spend a lot of time in the woods and in places such as Eddie B. Jones Park. I have attended 3 different places in the past week doing this wildlife photography. I'm very sensitive to the needs of birds and animals, such as some of the people I think will probably speak are here today about that position. However, I would never put my interest, the birds or the wildlife that I love so much, I would never put it above the well-being and the welfare of any neighborhood. I would not go into your neighborhood and do such a thing. So I'm asking the council to consider the possibility of allowing Chesapeake what they need and working with them in order to alleviate this problem from our neighborhood. Thank you.
Are there any other persons to speak in favor of this ordinance? There are other persons that are going to speak in favor. If you all could kind of come and sit toward the front here. Let me cut down in a few seconds. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Charles Ramsey. I live at 8686 Shane Lane, Spring Ridge Estate. You know, I really don't know what to say today, except the simple fact is I've been living out there for 12 years, and I moved out to the country to have some peace and quiet and everything. And I don't want to be pointing any fingers or blaming anybody for this or that. But some of you people maybe should just come out and look and see what they've done to our neighborhood. I mean, our roads are tore up. They took, when they were coming in with the rigs, they drove a trailer house into one of my neighbor's yard. They ripped my mailbox open. And, you know, we have little kids live out there. And you take a little fella 2 or 3 years old, go step in front of one of them big trucks. I wonder if we're going to be able to bring them back. And they talk about inconvenience. I go all over the country to the national parks and all, and I love that. But it's like Mr. Smith was saying, I wouldn't dare put that over somebody's neighborhood. And I just wish y'all take consideration about being there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, not just go walk in the park maybe 1 or 2 hours a week or whatever. Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
It's Kathy Gamby, 8737 Shane Lane, Spring Ridge Estates in Keithville. And I think Deborah did very well at basically covering anything. But we just want to make it clear that we are there 24 hours a day. We can't go to the park and return home 2 hours later. We are there constantly. Our kids cannot even ride their bicycles in their own neighborhood. They're refined to the driveways, the yards. We can't even go walk down the street because of all the debris. That was the main point I wanted to make, and invite anyone that would like to come out there and spend 24 hours in our shoes. We'd be welcome to have you. And I'm sorry, my voice is starting to go. But it's been covered pretty well.
You feel better. Are there any other persons to speak in favor of this ordinance? Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Marion Heath. My address is 6122 Victoria Lane, Keithville, Spring Ridge Estates. And I, too, like my neighbors, we have dealt with all kinds of stuff that goes on, traffic and all kinds of hours of the night, big rigs. I am one of those that like to get out and walk with the dogs. I'm usually up every morning before daylight, and I carry them out. And this morning I found this embedded in our asphalt, which was supposed to be put in to fill in some of the holes. And we also have neighbors that ride horses in our neighborhood, and let alone what kind of damage this would do to a tire or tires. I mean, if you to run this through a horse's hoof, I mean, you could just imagine what kind of damage and pain the poor horse is going to go through. Besides what we go through, that's just a step. I mean, I was walking every day here for a while, and I've had to give it up because the road surface is so bad that, you step in one spot, you're going to turn an ankle or, let alone fall and hurt yourself. We have one of our other neighbors, his grandson fell last weekend on a bicycle. He has, I think, 5 or 6 stitches to prove from that now. So, like I said, y'all welcome to come out and see our point of view, and, anytime you get ready, I mean, there's always action going on 24 hours a day. And the speed limit has nothing to do. 15 miles an hour, we try to hold that down as best we can by hollering at them, and, we do get several gestures, but we won't go through what those are, so. Just thank you for your time. Like I say, y'all are welcome to come out and see us at any given time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Wes Williams. I live at 8830 Spring Ridge Drive in Keithville. Appreciate you letting me speak to you today. I hope that y'all are looking at this in the right perspective. We're talking about families here. I represent a family of 6. This is my family over here. I've got 4 children, my wife. We moved here 3 years ago. We decided to live out in the country, somewhere where it's nice, peaceful, away from the city life, away where we could enjoy life together, life with some neighbors as well in a small neighborhood. The thing about Chesapeake coming to our neighborhood is it's taken that away from us and all our neighbors. It's basically endangered our lives. It's taken away the safety and security that we enjoyed so much. This is a 24/7 commitment here at our house. This is what we go home and we feel safe there. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to feel safe there. And I ask that you take a look at this and really, really think about this hard. A park that, unfortunately, sits right next to the access road that they're going to go through. Fortunately, there's no people that live there. There are no people that are going to be, other than temporarily. It's more of a temporary for them, this traffic that's going to go through there. However, it interrupts our life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop. No matter if it's Monday, no matter if it's Sunday, it still goes through there. Thank you.
Are there any other persons here to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Hey, I'm Carrie Williams. I live at 8830 Spring Ridge Drive. And a couple of things that was failed to bring up is, of course, the children's safety with the clouds of asphalt, dry asphalt dust hanging over our homes and the dust clouds hanging over our homes. Also, on several occasions, I personally have had to call the police to get me to my home because with the 18-wheelers, they can't pass each other and they try to back up. I have a newborn and I've had to have the police come and move traffic just so I could get into my home, in my neighborhood, to get into my home. I also was late picking up my children from school because I had to call the police because 169 was completely closed. You could not exit our neighborhood or into our neighborhood.
So I had to call the police to come and reroute traffic so I could pick up children from school. I hate that the only alternative is to go through the park. We're park lovers. We have seen a decrease in deer. We no longer have deer coming through. I've seen one rabbit this year, which is good for our lettuce, but our wildlife has disappeared also. And the point I want to make is no one should not be able to leave their home because of the highway being shut down for mobile homes to be coming and pulled in and out of this area. Also, 4 more years of this. This is not the first time. I guess the police will have to come and escort us home if this continues, because I've had to call them numerous times. They know my number. I think they're trying to block it. But thank you for listening.
Then other persons to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Madam President and members, good afternoon. My name is Kevin McCotter. I'm with Chesapeake Energy Corporation. My address is 333 Texas Street, room 1100, and that's in Shreveport, 71101. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with the commissioners this afternoon, and I'll start with a heartfelt apology and admission that sometimes what looks good on paper may not work out that way. And when we were addressing the issue of determining our route location to the Brian Wallace pad sites back in the fall, we looked at Addie Jones Park and we looked at the asphalt road that was recently reconstructed, as well as the Veterans Cemetery. And I don't think that we did as good a job as we could have in doing the due diligence to try to find different solutions and different alternatives. So we reached a point where we engineered a design through the subdivision, and I apologize to all the members of Spring Ridge subdivision for what they've had to endure over the last several months. But I'd also like to thank you and other members of the commission, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Lynch, members of the Natural Resources Committee, and all the members of the commission, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Grubb. There's been a lot of work that's been put in to this proposal since last January. It was evident then that we had to find a solution to exiting Spring Ridge subdivision. So we met a couple of times. We determined that it was best to go out and look at different routes and different options, and there was an old construction road that was on the southern portion of Section 30, and we felt that that would be suitable to upgrade that road for a construction traffic road that would allow us to access a pad site at the bottom of Section 19. So that's when we started that work. We did the survey. We continued to communicate. We worked closely with Attorney Grubb, Mr. Wilson. We worked with John Wilson, John Frazier, the independent attorney that the commission had engaged to ensure that the public was being safeguarded here. So I would suggest to you this afternoon that we've got a very balanced agreement that meets all of the needs of the different stakeholders in Caddo Parish. But first of all, I'd like to just recount some of the things that's taken place in this negotiation process. There's not been one request that's been made to us by Attorney Grubb that we've not been able to comply with. And just to name a few, some of those include that we shrunk the footprint of the pipeline right-of-way. Initially, we proposed a 50-foot wide right-of-way. We have now shrunk that to 40 feet. We agreed that, assuming a passage of this ordinance, that we would begin immediately on what I call Phase 1 of the road, which would build a portion from Highway 789 to the existing Brian Wallace Road, and that we would complete that road by May 1st. Once that's complete, then we are out of the Spring Ridge subdivision. We also agreed that once we are out of the subdivision, it's going to be our responsibility to rehabilitate Shane Lane and Victoria Lane to the satisfaction of the parish, but not only to the satisfaction for the parish to pick a contractor of its choosing and for us to reimburse that work, which is currently an estimate right now is $178,000. The parish should have a more specific number on May 7th when it receives its bids, along with bids for other work in the parish. We agreed to request to warrant our title and changes to our agreement that warrants that title. We agreed to request to continue assuming liability for future assignments of this right or this agreement that would be approved by this ordinance. So we also
agreed to provide additional certificates of insurance. We want you, as members of the commission, to be assured that Chesapeake Energy Corporation has the resources behind us to manage any contingency that may take place as a result of the approval of this ordinance. We tried to do as much as we could to mitigate inconveniences for the subdivision. We planted trees along Mr. Fox's property. Those were specialty trees that were imported from out of state. We built a privacy fence along Mrs. Connell's property and at her request. We tried to do as much as we could. We repaired mailboxes. We kept personnel on site. We voluntarily asked our drivers to maintain their speed limits. And at the end of the day, you've heard the request from the residents. You've seen the work that's been invested by the staff and all the members of our organization over the last several months. So with that, I respectfully request that you pass this ordinance, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Are there persons here to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Right, okay. Let me say this to my colleagues as the first person comes. You're with Chimp Haven? I'm sorry, what's your name?
Dr. Brown.
Dr. Bright? Dr. Brent? I have 18 cards here, and each side is allowed 15 minutes for those that wanted to speak in favor and those that are in opposition. So I would just ask that you all be considerate of your time to make sure we can get everyone in. We do have provisions if we need to go beyond that, but if we can kind of stick as close to that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Dr. Grant?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think the proponents went properly level, so let's give them the time to start.
I got it.
Okay.
You can state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Linda Brent. My address is 10956 Elkhart Street in Keithville, and I'm the president and director of Chimp Haven, and here to speak to you about the proposed drilling and roads that Chesapeake would like to put in the nature park. Chimp Haven's always had a wonderful relationship with the Caddo Parish Commission. In fact, as most of you know, and some of you were involved in, the commission actually donated the 200 acres on which Chimp Haven is now located. We selected the land from many parcels that the parish made available to us because of its rural location. It was quiet and peaceful, and we selected it specifically for our retired chimpanzees. We also selected the parcel within the park in association with the parish to be completely surrounded by the park. We specifically did that so that we didn't have to worry about development and the encroachment of roads and highways and housing near our facility. We were involved in the master planning process with the Caddo Parish Parks and the Veterans Cemetery and developed the entire master plan for Chimp Haven at that time. We laid out the chimpanzee habitats in our public education areas very much on purpose, based on the facilities that were there, the roadways that were there, utilities and everything. In fact, the northern boundary of Chimp Haven is actually going to now, if this is approved, be bounded by the road right along our entire northern boundary. That's the boundary that we chose because it was closest to the park to have our large forested habitats for our chimpanzees as well as our entire public education program. We've already invested over $14 million in this site, all coming from federal dollars and donations from private citizens. We've created 30 full-time jobs and have had a significant positive economic impact on the region. We operate a federally funded program. We're selected in part for the facility design, planning, and location. We actually have some concerns now that the welfare impact on our animals may jeopardize future federal funding for our organization with obvious negative repercussions. As one of the three major stakeholders in the park, being Caddo Parish Parks, the Veterans Cemetery, and Chimp Haven, we were pretty surprised that Chesapeake never contacted us once about this initiative. They obviously talked at length to the park and to you. They talked at length to the Veterans Cemetery, but never even thought that it was important to talk to us. We heard about this meeting yesterday and rapidly tried to make an appointment to talk to their representatives, and luckily Mr. McCotter was available for us this morning. But it was the first time that we fully realized actually somebody provided us with the plans to talk about where this road was going to be.
My goal here is really to protect our organizations and the chimpanzees that is our number one goal. We feel that just as all of the members that you just heard from Spring Ridge Estates, we're going to be facing serious safety, health, and convenience risks for not only our chimpanzees and staff who are also there 24/7, but for our visitors coming to our education programs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the plan for where this road goes, but it actually goes directly through the middle of the park on the road that we have used with the cooperation of the parish to open ourselves up to the public free once a month. We will no longer be able to do that with the current plan. We're not really against what Chesapeake wants to do. To be perfectly honest with you, Chesapeake's going to be drilling near my property in the very near future. But I think what we've heard today from the other people very much shows the impact that the noise, the smell, the dirt, and all the other problems have not only on citizens, but also potentially the park and our animals and our facility. What we're asking for is that the Commission consider not approving this plan by Chesapeake to build the roads and drill the wells in Eddie D. Jones Park until serious concerns that we have addressed just today for the health and safety of our staff and chimpanzees and visitors can be addressed. We really believe that a resolution of our concerns can be reached, but it has not happened yet. So we would like to ask for time for a cooperative discussion of these issues and time that our concerns could be addressed by both Chesapeake and the parks. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. We don't do questions during this one.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Candy Peavy. I'm on the board. My address is 942 Ontario Street, Shreveport, 71106. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of Chimp Haven. I'm one of only two local residents that are actually on the national board. It's composed of very highly renowned experts in the care of captive chimpanzees. I'm honored to sit on this board. I've worked with Chimp Haven for over 10 years now to help this make this a reality for all of us, and not a day goes by that we don't appreciate all of you for what you did for us for the donation of property and for allowing us to build such a fantastic facility that is known all over the world. Our concern as a board of directors is for the health and welfare of these chimpanzees. That's our mission, is to take care of these chimpanzees that have served humankind and that are now in our care for the rest of their lives. They are so much like humans. It's our concern, as you've heard from the residents of Spring Ridge, they're going to be subjected to a lot of health issues, dust and that kind of thing. I would like to comment on, Mr. McConnor had said that sometimes what looks good on paper doesn't necessarily work out. This morning I was at the meeting with him and with Dr. Brent, and what looks good on paper to him does not look good on paper to us. That road comes way too close to our boundary and to where the chimps are being housed outside. And I too am not opposed to the road at all. I think it needs to probably come through the park somewhere. I don't think they've found the right location yet. And if you guys decide that indeed this is the right location, we have some very special needs. We need a fence that's very tall, a barrier that can protect us from them. We need a separate road. We can't share the same road that they're going to use for this for their operations. My husband is a principal owner of O'Brien Energy Company. I have a lot of experience and knowledge of what goes on with drilling, and what these residents have said is true. There is 24 hours, 7-day-a-week, 24-hour traffic, big 18-wheeler trucks, millions of gallons of water that will be removed from the area for each well that will never go back into the system. There are just a lot of issues that just because we only learned about it yesterday, we need some time. We're not against the road. We would like for you to table the vote today and give us some time to work some things out with Chesapeake and discuss with you guys. We'd like to make it a joint effort. We think it can work. We've seen some ways that it can work, but we just need more time. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Let me just keep coming.
Hi, my name is Leanna Naranjo. I live at 6569 Keithville Spring Ridge Road in Keithville, Louisiana. I'm here to talk to you today and voice my concerns about this road that is going near within a few feet of the sanctuary at Chimphaven. Chimphaven not only has the chimpanzees that we are greatly concerned about, but also our public events and our educational events. We have schools from the region that come out to Chimphaven for educational opportunities and field trips. They actually walk down that same road. Buses drop off the children there, and they will have to walk down that road and enter the sanctuary and actually have their events right there within a few feet of these trucks coming up and down during the day. We will not be able to continue this program to educate the regional schools. And this has been a big mission of us for sciences. It's great for Shreveport to have this opportunity. Our open houses where we offer thousands of people come out and families walk down those roads to be able to come out, learn about chimpanzees, Chimphaven, sciences. With this road and the location bordering our facility, we will not be able to do that due to the safety of the people involved. We're just asking that this be tabled until maybe the road can be moved to a little bit further away from the sanctuary.
Hi, my name is Amy Foltz. I'm also here to speak on behalf of Chimphaven. I live at 6004 Rosemead Circle. I actually live in Bossier City, but I work at Chimphaven as the behavioral program manager. And I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to voice our concerns today. As some of the other Chimphaven people have said, we're very thankful to the Commission for donating the 200 acres that we are currently on. Part of what some of the others have said about our educational programs and our discovery days that we have those in part to thank the community for the community support. My concern is that the road is would be adjacent to our chimpanzee habitats, where chimps that have been used in biomedical research, which has benefited each and every one of us, they're finally getting the opportunity to live out their lives peacefully after, in some cases, 40 years of service to humankind. The chimpanzees are climbing trees in the habitats, they're building nests, they're eating vegetation, and they're living in large groups and enjoying a peaceful retirement. The proposed road is directly adjacent to these chimpanzee habitats. I believe the noise, additional activity, will be detrimental to the chimpanzees' behavioral well-being. I believe it will cause increased stress, and I believe that there's been previous research on some of these impacts, but we, again, haven't had time to investigate the issues to the level that we need to. I also run in the park, so I'm also going to speak to that. I'm also a person who runs and uses the park, and a lot of our staff members hike and walk on that road that we're talking about, and we won't be able to do that, as well as some of the other people that utilize the park for those activities, for horseback riding, running, walking. On the other hand, I'm also a mother of 2 young children, and I understand the concerns of the Spring Hill neighborhood residents. So we'd like to request that possibly an alternate route, perhaps around the perimeter of the park, might be investigated as a possibility. I'd like to request that the Commission consider not approving the plan at this time so that we can all investigate the concerns that are being brought forward today. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Carolyn McKinney. My address is 2070 Cedar Hill Road, Keithville. Thank you for allowing me to speak before you. Again, I'm Dr. Carolyn McKinney. I'm the veterinarian for the chimpanzees at Chimphaven. As their doctor, I am primarily concerned about the health and well-being of the chimpanzees and the potential impact of Chesapeake oil and what will happen to the chimps because of this. The proposed road, as you've heard before, is directly adjacent to the chimpanzees' habitat, right where they live. Chesapeake seems to be bad for the people of Spring Ridge and the animals here at Chimphaven as well. As you know, most of these retired chimps are elderly. They can have pre-existing diseases just like we have. They have heart disease, heart failure, hypertension, liver disease, and respiratory problems. They're very, very fragile. One of my primary concerns is that the dust and debris from construction and the exhaust from passing trucks will cause respiratory distress to the animals. Another is that the constant noise from construction and vehicles will have a negative impact on the chimps. This noise can foreseeably cause a great deal of stress to the animals, particularly when they are sleeping. As you know, stress can cause immunosuppression, just like it does in people. It can make even healthy animals ill. These special animals live there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just like the Spring Ridge residents. I'm just asking you to please reconsider the placement of this road, or at least let us discuss it, for these now retired chimpanzees who dedicate their lives to science, and to each and every one of you, myself included, that they don't have to suffer now. Thank you very much.
Mr. Wilfred Smith? Cards. Come on, sir.
He's always spoken.
Okay. Charles Ramsey?
He's always spoken. Josh,
You've already spoken, sir?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Kathy Gann? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm putting from the wrong cards. Nate Cost?
Got a couple of boards here, and I had a handout that Chief Woody gave out for me. I'm Nathan Cost, 5603 Golden Glow Lane, Bossier City. I'm an engineer at Barksdale Air Force Base, avid mountain bike rider and park user. When all this came to our attention, our group got with the other park users and tried to decide what we could propose as an alternative to what we saw as a barrier dividing our park in half, which would be the Chesapeake Road. From an engineering standpoint, we pulled up some maps and we started looking at it, and Teresa White did some research for us at the courthouse, and she was able to identify another route that wasn't on the current map, and I think we'll probably talk about that first. Right now, there is an existence that comes off of Highway 169 south of the Spring Ridge Estates.
Move back to the podium.
It's down here to...
Excuse me, sir. Move back to the podium and take it.
Oh, closer to the podium. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll just stick it up here. There's an existing easement marked in orange here and marked in orange on the handouts I gave you that comes in down to this well, the further south well. Perhaps it should be explored by Chesapeake. Maybe they could get an easement through the rest of this Unit 36 across between these two subdivisions, one of which has wells on it already, and get on the perimeter road and go up to the drill site. That would be the best of all worlds. That would get the road out of the park completely. Now, as an alternative, if we've got to have the park in the road, the road through the park, we suggest that we look at a couple of different alternatives. And if you look at your page 2, one of which I have kind of dotted in a dark blue line, is to use the existing paved road off of Highway 780 something. Through the main park entrance, past the Veterans Cemetery, down to a point just shy of where some horse barns are, and back to the pad side. This is already an existing road. This is paved here. This is paved here. There's a short distance of dirt road here that would have to be shored up for probably construction or whatever. Using the paved road does a lot of things. You can use it during all kinds of weather conditions, obviously. Mud's not going to affect it. Dust isn't going to be an issue. It gets the noise and the traffic away from Chimp Haven, which is actually right here, right beside this proposed route. It's easier for the parish to maintain speed limits, which has been a problem, I guess, in the subdivision. It also, since for all the reasons that the citizens of the parish gave, of the subdivision gave, speeding trucks, trash, garbage, whatever, if we get it up here off of this road, it'd be easy for the park people to enforce and the Caddo commission folks, you guys, to enforce, making sure that road's taken care of. One other alternate route, besides if this is not acceptable, there's an actual dirt road that comes beside this church here at the front entrance, across this northern boundary property line, and curves down here and ties in, gets straight to the pad. The problem is the VA cemetery, possibly. I don't know what they've said. I don't know if they're here today or not. But I'd say the people who use the park are probably vastly outnumber the people who go to the VA cemetery on any. Well, I've been through the park a lot of times. I maybe see one person every 3 months. Drilling isn't going to take forever to do. I mean, you're only looking at a short, maybe 6 to 9 month time frame. There's plenty of other cemeteries located along interstate highways and busy roads. I mean, 3132 has a big cemetery right beside Mansfield Road. So we just ask that you look at these alternate proposals to getting this, keep this from happening, which divides, the park in half, basically. Pardon me?
You're finished?
Yes,
You're done?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The appropriate amount of time has been given to both sides, and I still have quite a few cards here left. I would need a motion to allow these other persons to speak.
So moved to expand the agenda to allow them to speak.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion? Vote, please. Oh, shucks. Thank you. I didn't recognize she had left.
Show of hands.
Just show your hands. I think that passes. Mr. Adam Hart.
My name is Adam Hart, 945 Dudley Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. I'll keep it really brief because I know we have a lot of people, but I do thank you for your time. I'm just here as a park user, as an outdoorsman, as a cyclist, as a veteran who hopefully one day will be buried in that veteran cemetery. I think what you've heard so far speaks pretty strongly as to the type of impact that this road's going to have. I think the map shows you pretty clearly that the current location is bad, as is the existing location. I would just hope that this commission would take the time to explore alternate routes that can satisfy all parties, because what the existing proposal is simply not acceptable. Thank you.
Jack Wynn. Jack Wynn. Is that Mr. Moon?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Next, I'll have Marion Heath.
Ma'am, this Mr. Wins.
But I'm saying I just want to let the next one know. Yes, sir. If you could state your
I'm
name.
Jack Wynn of 442 Wynwood Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a property owner in the Spring Ridge area. I own approximately about 600 acres. My property backs up and adjoins to the property where the intended well site is going to go. And as far as Chesapeake ever contacting me coming across my land, that never has been done. It appears that Chesapeake always takes the easiest route they're going to take, or the most beneficial to them. One incident, I got a tract of land of 80 acres. Chesapeake came in and put an oil well site on it. I told them I owned the surface rights. I did not own the minerals. They went ahead and put the oil well site on. They took 130,000 yards of my dirt off of my property and put it somewhere else, off completely out of the section off of my property. So basically they stole the dirt. They've never paid me for the oil well site. They never paid me for the timber. They never rebuilt another road. So I'm not here in favor or opposed. I'm just telling you how Chesapeake operates. They will operate to whatever is beneficial to them, and whatever they tell you up front means nothing. If they tell you they're going to call you before they get on your property, that means nothing. They're divided up into several different organizations. Nobody in each one organization knows what anyone else tells you. So I'm not saying the oil well is not good for me. It's just the way or the gas wells, the way they handle it, and everything they will do will be to the benefit of whatever they want. Again, I own property all the way back to exactly where that well site is. Never have I been contacted about putting a road on my property or anything else, nor would I allow one to go on it. But I've never been contacted, so that appears to me that they've never tried to look at other alternative routes if they didn't connect me and my property. As you see from 169, there's our well site on this portion of track right here. So they could have very easily well somehow contacted me and been straight to the well site, but never did that take place. So they're not looking for alternatives, they're looking for their cheapest way.
Marion Heath? No Marion. Justin Renault? Keith McClung?
Justin Renault, 216 India Drive.
WD, excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
WD 40, please. Thank you.
Justin Renault, 216 India Drive. Again, thanks for having us. I represent the running community and the cycling community and the events that are held at the park. There's many different events that are held at the park, many that bring in outside people. One event specifically called Louisiana Trails brought in 135 people, of which 11 different states were represented. So people are coming into the park. There's more people know about the park than ever before, as well as events like orienteering meets with orienteering, think land nav in the military. Local high schools are utilizing this with the junior ROTCs. So I'm definitely with these guys with moving that road out of the center of the park and using one of these alternate routes, because it's going to take away from the serenity and the beauty of the park. Again, the alternate route would definitely be the best. One of the alternate routes, getting it away from the Chimp Haven, would be the best. Thank you, guys.
Chris Clemens? Followed by Teresa White.
My name's Chris Clemens, and I'm retired Air Force chief, But I've been living in this community for 16 years, actually
Take your
stationed in
address,
space.
please.
Excuse me?
Your address, please.
Oh, sorry, 5751 Goldcrest Drive in Bossier City.
Thank you.
And I'm, like Adam Hart, I'm here as an avid cyclist and runner. I don't pretend to know anything about the zoning or anything. I don't have anything against Chesapeake or anything against anybody. I feel for the people that the road is going through now. And I think we should look at an alternate route, because as a Christian also, I think we have totally destroyed God's world is enough. So let's try to keep a little bit of pristine area that you guys set aside to begin with. Thank you.
White?
I'm Teresa White. My address is 2513 Melrose in Bossier City, 71111, and I'm here as a park user. I'm with everyone else about finding an alternate route aside from going through the center of the park. I mean, Chesapeake clearly, they could go some different ways, even going through Spring Ridge through the center of it was probably not a very good idea to start with. You know, going through the center of a park creates the same issues. And what I wanted to point out to you, on the actual oil and gas lease from the state of Louisiana that covers the property, it gives you it's very strong language. There will be no surface operations without our consent, and that would be you, the commissioners. You have the authority to request that, you know, where the access is. And I think you've been quite generous in allowing a drill site back there, and you recognize that you would like to develop, you know, the oil and gas development, and allow them, you know, a certain measure. And I think that you've done that. But as far as the access roads, I think that that we need to find a different way to get to those drill sites that are on parameters as boundaries of properties, as opposed to going through the center. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Gary Wittes? Followed by Richard Beatty.
I'm Gary Weiss. I live at 8753 Shane Lane, Spring Ridge Estates. And I would very much like y'all get the traffic out of our neighborhood. I mean, I like parks too. I RV. I go camping 6-7 times a year. But when I go camping, I come back home. And right now, it's not a home. I mean, it's been miserable the last few months. And I appreciate anything you can do. Thank you.
Richard Beatty?
Richard Beatty, 125 East Park Avenue, Ruston. As you can tell, I'm not from here. I'm from New Zealand, so I'm the international spokesperson for the group. And I'm a mountain biker, and I've biked around the world. And I've just got to tell you that the Eddie D. Jones Trail is one of the best I've ridden, one of the best short courses. And I ask you to think of this, to treat this issue the same way as you treat an inner city park or a playground being cut up. Just please give it some thought and don't ruin a really good trail. Thank you.
Charlie Bollerman, followed by Keith Tennyson.
Hello, my name is Charlie Billman. I live at 3245 McGregor Street in Bossier City, Louisiana. And I just, want to touch on what Justin started talking about, a little bit of the tourism piece. We've got a large amount of people that are coming to our trails, and I've even got a couple of different magazine articles here, if you'd like to see, that specifically list the Eddie Jones Trail. And we are not against moving that road out of the community. When I sit here and listen to these people talk, I know that is not what we're against. We're talking about simply moving the proposed road that cuts our trail in half and cuts this park in half and divides it. And when we look at people coming in from other states to our trails and coming into our parks, we have to think, what's the example that we're setting for them, or what are we trying to show them? A park that's filled with 18-wheelers pushing through it, or equipment and maintenance stuff going through it all the time, or are we trying to give them something pristine, something that they can tell their kids about or tell their families about or want to come back to? Even the Louisiana State Travel Tourism Department has filmed recently a video out of Lincoln Parish Park. So they spent money bringing people in to film our parks and talk about how beautiful they are, to use them as a tourism piece. And to cut them in half is just a bad idea. So rerouting is obviously the best idea, and I hope you'll consider it. Thank you.
Keith Tennyson.
Hello, I'm Keith Tennyson. I live at 614 Avignon Lane in Shreveport, Louisiana. I want to thank the Commission for listening to us today. I represent Louisiana Off-Road Cycling, and I'm also a Chesapeake shareholder for the record. And I just wanted to just kind of piggyback on what a lot of our folks here have said, and definitely to work with Nathan, who showed us a great rerouting for the road through the park. That shows an excellent reroute, and I think it'd be effective for everyone. Also, I want to talk about the economic value of that particular park. Like Charlie said, they've been spending money to shoot video to show how awesome our parks are around here in all of our parishes. I know the Eddie Jones Park will be close to next on that list to shoot and encourage tourism to come down and enjoy our really nice park. In addition to that, the environmental impact. I'm kind of shocked there really hasn't been any kind of environmental assay that has shown exactly what the impact would be on both plants and animals. I know we're dealing with a park that's about 40 years old, so what that's doing is creating a really nice zone of impact for plants and animals to refurbish and thrive. So that's something I think we definitely call for, is to see the environmental impact of this road, and also to reconsider the routing around the park. Thank you for listening, and you guys take care.
Mike Simmons. Mike Simmons. Are there any other persons here to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Next item, Mr. Spears.
Okay. Next, you have a related ordinance. Ordinance 4871 authorizes the administrator to execute an easement right-of-way agreement with Louisiana Midstream Gas Services pertaining to granting of an easement right-of-way for the purpose of constructing and maintaining an oil and gas pipeline across a portion of Eddie D. Jones Park.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone? Move fast, Ken.
Thank you, Madam President, members. This is an accompanying ordinance that was necessary because our gas gathering system is conducted by Chesapeake Energy Marketing Incorporated. And as I said earlier, when we were working with the commission and members of the park staff, we were asked to shrink that footprint down, which we voluntarily did, of the pipeline. It's adjacent to our access road that's at the top of Section 30 and right along on the south side of Section 19. And I would say that the reason that we did not go into Mr. Wynn's property is there's pending litigation there, so it was just inappropriate for us to consider trying to attempt some type of an agreement along that private property. This was the route that was suggested by the Parish Commission and park managers. We considered the asphalt road by the cemetery back in the fall, but then the cemetery operations had concerns. And the cemetery is used on a frequent basis. There were 13 burials during the month of December, and it's required that there's no activity, no traffic 1 hour before and 1 hour following a service. And that's why we found this old unused construction road, which was recommended again by park management, and we'll fulfill our route. Thank you.
Are there any other persons to speak in favor of this ordinance? Are there persons to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Ma'am, did you want to speak in opposition to this ordinance?
No.
No.
There's no rebuttal.
No, ma'am. You want to speak in opposition to this ordinance?
Her point, ma'am, was on the adjacent landowner did speak, and she wanted to know if they could speak again on it.
No rebuttal.
He can speak on this one.
He's talking about the prior one. Shouldn't have got into it.
Let me make sure. Are there any persons here to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Next item, Mrs. Spears.
All right, that concludes the public hearing on ordinances, and then we return to the zoning ordinance for final consideration. Ordinance 4866, Monica George Severs applying to rezone property to R1D for that single-family residence.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, second by Commissioner Dominique. Is there any discussion? Please vote. It passes. Next item.
And move back into your regular ordinances for final consideration. Ordinance 4867 authorizes the administrator to grant a permanent right-of-way and servitude on parish property in Section 4, Township 18, Range 14.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Baker. Is there any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Ordinance 4868 declares certain adjudicated property to be surplus and authorizes sale of the tax interest.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Escalade, push one more time. Thank you, that passes. Next item.
Ordinance 4869 grants an encroachment on North Front Circle to build an access gate.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Baker. Is there any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item, Mrs. Spears.
Ordinance 4870 authorizes an agreement with Chesapeake operating for the use and surface use of a portion of Eddie Jones Park.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Escalade, second by Commissioner Baker. Discussion, Commissioner Lynn.
When Kevin McCotter got up and spoke, and this is addressed to you, Mr. Grubb, Attorney Grubb, he said that every issue that had been brought forth to him by you, he had approved and had written into ordinance. You told me yesterday that you brought forth to him a closed-loop drilling system. Am I to believe that that is on this ordinance? No, it is not. So everything that you came to him with is not on this ordinance, contrary to what he said earlier.
Well, I think I would agree with that, yes.
Thank you very much. Could you tell me anything, is there a closed-loop drilling system anywhere in Caddo Parish?
If I may take a minute or two to answer that question, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Lynn first brought the idea of this closed-loop system up through some correspondence that I saw yesterday morning or night before last. And I spent a good deal of time yesterday talking to people with the Department of Natural Resources and also reading some material as to what a closed-loop system is and where they're used and the advisability of using them up here. And I'm by no means an expert on this. I've got 1 day's worth of knowledge, so I'm about a mile wide and an inch deep. But let me tell you what I think. I'm advised that drilling a Haynesville well is basically a two-step process. You first do a downhole drill, and then there's a separate rig that comes in that does the horizontal well. My understanding from talking to the Department of Natural Resources people is that it's common to have a closed-loop system for the horizontal portion of the drilling because, for one thing, they use oil-based drilling mud for that, which is expensive. It's something they pay for, and the closed-loop system lets them recover that mud. It makes financial sense to them, as I appreciate it, to do it. The vertical well that goes down is at a larger diameter. It puts out a lot more mud, and the industry prefers to basically use the pond method, so to speak, to corral that instead of the closed-loop system because of the expense. Closed-loop systems are used much more commonly down in South Louisiana where the water table is right at the surface. Obviously, closed-loop systems are used whenever you're over water. So, for example, I would assume that every well out in the middle of Caddo Lake was drilled with a closed-loop system. The local representative of the Department of Natural Resources here, Mr. Broussard, told me yesterday that he is aware of a handful, is the way he put it, of Haynesville wells that have been drilled in northwest Louisiana in a closed-loop manner. The specific one that he mentioned to me was the well drilled primarily on the Hamill property down at 70th Street and Clyde Fan Parkway, which just completed at least one phase of its drilling the other day.
Mr. Grubb, your understanding of a closed-loop system, does this reduce traffic to and from a well site? The truck traffic, since they're actually recycling their drilling mud on site, it's my understanding that it reduces the traffic to and from a well site by half.
That's something I'm not aware of, Commissioner, but I'm certainly not saying it's not true.
Okay. From your reading, does a closed-loop system reduce the chances of contamination on the soil?
I'm advised that the detention ponds that are used to hold the material, if there's not a closed-loop system, what I'm advised is that they're generally safe, but there are instances that occur when there's a spillage.
Or if it rains, could it overflow? Heaven knows it doesn't rain here.
What I'm advised is that the Department of Natural Resources regulations require the detention pond to be built with at least a 2-foot excess height of the pond over where the material is going to go. I was advised that either due to defective construction or maintenance or due to weather occurrences, they can overflow.
So it is possible that if it rained enough in Louisiana, that this open pit system that's proposed right now in this contract that wasn't changed even though you went to Chesapeake with it, could overflow.
It's possible.
Okay. How many times has this when was the last time this contract that's before me right now, when was the last time it was changed?
It's been changed since last Monday.
Has it been changed today?
Yes, sir.
Was it changed yesterday?
It was basically changed yesterday to incorporate some changes that are reflected in the red line copy that I gave you that I would be happy to go over with you. I did change one provision this morning pertaining to insurance.
My guess is that since it's been changed today and since it's been changed yesterday, that I personally, there might be something that I want to change on it tomorrow. However, I won't be able to change that if I sign off on it today, will I? I won't be able to change anything tomorrow if I agree to do this today. Is that correct?
Well, if y'all approve it today, it's a done deal, and I would assume that sometime in the next few days we'd sign the agreement.
I guess closing remarks. The Spring Ridge subdivision, I am very apologetic to you. You are by far in the worst position of anybody in this room. You're being held hostage as a tool to get a road through the park, and it's all wrong. It's wrong to use you like that, and I feel like we're wrong. That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
The alternative routes that were shown to us today, has anybody else seen these? Or did they just up today? When I came here today, I was just about ready to vote for this thing simply because it appeared to be the lesser of the evils that were being offered. But it seems like that there are some alternatives that make, incredible sense that haven't even been explored. The main one being, or one of them certainly being with the Wynn property, and I understand the litigation and all that, but I've got to believe that if we're dealing with two sets of reasonable people, that could have been worked out long before you ever went through Spring Ridge Estates. That's the number one thing, and then you've got another opportunity down 169 on a road that's already going into Red Oak Timber. And I don't know what would be involved in getting another road going back to the main road you've already built. And I know that we've been paid a lot of money by Chesapeake in bonus money. But when you set up a park, you set up a park for the purpose of the individuals, the taxpayers in Caddo Parish to have an opportunity to use that park, and hopefully that park will not ever become anything else. That's the reason normally that governmental bodies put away land, and it's this obviously I didn't know a lot about Eddie D. Jones Park, but obviously this is a very precious commodity that we have, and to cut a road through the center of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I see right now 2 to 3 other possible alternatives, and I realize that Chesapeake hasn't seen these, and we haven't seen them. Mr. Lynn just made an excellent point that I've been feeling. I'm feeling that today the decision I have to make is to get trucks out of that subdivision, and my alternative is to put an ill-advised road through the park. That's my choice today. And all I can say is I'm glad I don't live in Spring Ridge Estates, because I really believe they've been through the mill. But I don't want to tear up our park either. So that puts me between a rock and a hard spot, and I believe there's probably some other commissioners that feel they're on the same way. And I know that anything that we do different than what's being offered right now is going to take additional time. It shouldn't take a whole lot of additional time because, number one, all the principles are here. Mr. Wynn, if I understood you correctly, you said that you wouldn't let them put anything through your property. And that may very well be under the current conditions, but maybe if maybe there's a way that can happen. I don't know. It's certainly the most logical route. I'm not asking you to reply. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, but it's certainly the most logical route, as you pointed out. It is the most logical route. But there are a couple other routes that are logical too, and I would just hope that
but it would be looked at. And I'm sorry it's just coming up today, I really am. I wish I'd have seen this a month ago. That's all I have.
Commissioner Epperson?
The persons from Champaven stated that they just found out about the situation with the road. I guess, is Mr. Raymond here? I guess he can answer that. They were not aware of the road coming through the park prior to, what, yesterday or today?
Well, we have had conversations all along relative to, we were looking at trying to work out an agreement with Chesapeake, and I know I've talked to Dr. Grant in the past about the possibility of using that service road. Did I actually give her a plat of the current thing we're looking at now? No.
Okay.
No. You can actually see that.
You and I and Jim Smith, we went out and we spent about a substantial amount of time, and we looked over, we could see clearly Champaven, we could see where they park, when they have their monthly deals where they invite the public out. So I was under the assumption that they were fully informed and were participating all along the way. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, Larry. How much land does Champaven hold out there? How much land do we have?
Acres.
Pardon?
About 200 acres.
200 acres. And I think that's substantial, so they definitely should have
But that's
200 acres
belong to the parish.
belong to the parish. But we have a cooperative endeavor with them. Certainly, I would think that if something significant that May could accept the operation, that they should be involved in it, wouldn't you think? Okay. Let's see, Mr. Grubbs, I'd asked about the 10K, and I spoke with you prior to the meeting. You stated that the 10K, I guess that we were probably looking up on the website, would only pertain to Chesapeake out of Oklahoma City.
Chesapeake Energy Corporation is the publicly traded company that has that therefore files a 10K.
Okay.
You'd like me to,
No, sir, I'm speaking with Mr. Grubbs.
Well, can I explain, Commissioner?
Okay.
What I indicated was that the agreements that we have are with two subsidiaries of Chesapeake that because they're subsidiaries of the publicly traded company, there's no 10K for either Chesapeake Operating, Inc. or the Louisiana Midstream Pipeline. I have, and therefore, I think looking at the 10K of Chesapeake Energy, I did look through it today on the website, and I guess my problem is it does show that Chesapeake, of course, has fabulous cash flows because of all this oil and gas right now. But to my way of thinking, it does not. It doesn't tell you anything about the entities that we're contracting with, which is why I think the Commission's comments the other day about requiring insurance coverage or bonds for the liabilities out there are important.
Okay, if I may hold you there. Okay, this document here, the surface and subsurface, this is Chesapeake Operating, Inc.
Yes, sir.
This is only dealing with what we're having here?
It is, Mr. Frazier, help me.
Because I have P.O. Box 18496, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
It is a wholly owned subsidiary of Chesapeake Energy, Inc., which is the publicly traded company.
Okay. All right. Just as Mr. Lynn stated, it appears as though these negotiations has been almost like a rolling battle, like a snowball going down the hill, just picking up constantly. And I think I received an email last night, it was dated 6/29. 6/29 that the email was sent from you, and you were still speaking about some language, and you stated that we had some changes even up to today sometime in what we're looking at now.
You want me to address that?
Right.
The black line copies that y'all got by email yesterday evening, I believe, yesterday afternoon, addressed several issues that I brought to Chesapeake's attention primarily as a result of the conversations that went around this table on Monday. One of the comments that was made was about safety concerning the way the traffic would operate on the road out there, and so I suggested to Chesapeake that we include a provision in the agreement with them that basically says that all vehicles using the access road will travel at safe speeds considering the conditions at the time never to exceed 25 miles an hour. That's now in the agreement. I looked at the agreement and didn't really see where there was a clear provision regarding them having to close the reserve pits, so we added that. And also, of course, there was a lot of